In this episode, we're doing a bit of follow-up from a discussion we had at the end of March. At that time, federal assistance monies had just been announced, but very few details were available. Since then, multiple announcements have been made for students, seniors, medical funding and research, employers, unemployed, and the rest that are so colloquially referred to as the vulnerable. And the dollars have been flowing to people, provincial governments, and various companies and financial institutions. This is an extraordinary amount of financial assistance, and those responsible for getting the systems online and getting the money to its intended recipients is nothing less than impressive. All of this information has been delivered daily by the Prime Minister. He is informing Canadians how tax dollars are helping them in a time of crisis. It turns out that those dollars are delivered rather quickly. Of course, there are slips and cracks here and there, but those areas of oversight seem to be addressed just as quickly. Yet he's not receiving quite the recognition or opinion support one would have thought. Why is that? I think there are two reasons. One is function, and the other has to do with optics. Let's start with function. The plethora of measures designed to financially assist the Canadian economy are programmatic. Such measures are being delivered in varying degrees by nearly every country in the G7, 8, or whatever number you prefer. These are measures that are fully taxpayer funded. They're designed and delivered by a sizable public administration of dedicated government managers, policy analysts, and the like. These things happen, regardless of who makes the announcements. True, the bureaucracy takes direction from the government, and in this instance, the Cabinet and the Prime Minister's office, but the measures generally speak to the quality of Canada's public service, and less to any particular government or Prime Minister. They are programmatic in nature. And I think most people recognize the difference between their relationship with the Canada Revenue Agency, let's say, compared to their relationship with the Prime Minister. The other reason I think the PM is not quite resonating in large numbers is due to optics. Every day, since Canada officially moved into crisis mode, the PM has delivered an update. Every day he reads his update to the media as though he's never seen it before. Which is odd, given that this Prime Minister has some training and background experience in acting. Hell, we've all had to engage in theater in our daily lives, so having some acumen in acting is nothing to criticize. But someone who has a bit of a track record in the field should be qualitatively better than most. Unlike the optics of the provincial premiers and some mayors, who tend to come across as field marshals, there, ready to strike, there, speaking to people in ways that resonate. Of course, it's always about more than mere dollars. The Queen delivered one of this crisis's most rousing and inspiring messages, and she didn't have $1 or program attached to it. You could tell she knew what she meant in the words that were intended to comfort, embolden, and engage. The other part of the optic that doesn't sit quite so well for the Prime Minister is his positioning vis-a-vis the premiers and country's big mayors. I've got to tell you, the PM comes across as a head waiter reading the daily specials. Important information and highly welcomed, but he appears more of a messenger, while the premiers seem to be doing the ordering. Herein is the biggest irony. The Prime Minister's father, the famous Right Honourable Pierre Trudeau, once remarked something to the effect that one of the worst positions for a Canadian Prime Minister to be in is when he finds himself as the head waiter to the provincial premiers. One of the things he most disdained, as revealed in many speeches and memoirs, yet the one thing that his son seems to have become. Back in that earlier March podcast, which this episode more or less follows up on, I mentioned that today's crisis should represent many opportunities to do things differently, to try new things, and for this Prime Minister to lead in a way that no one in generations has had to do, or has had the opportunity to do. Make no mistake, this Prime Minister deserves an immense amount of credit. It's no easy task to wake up each morning with the news that Canada's death count has entered a rivalry with the numbers of dead from war years, that the economy has shattered in ways that resemble, yet surpass, anything in our lived or textbook experiences. The nation's boardroom is in need of new directors, though, and the Prime Minister has an aperture of opportunity to create that structure, even engage the opposition, get every member of Parliament and Senator actively doing something, and be seen by people to be doing something. Even the Governor-General should be fully engaged and visible as part of a new, grand governing structure of hope and opportunity. We're at a critical juncture, and we may need new rules because so many of the rules we've become accustomed to are going to change, whether we like it or not. Going forward will require a boldness as never before. As the German statesman Johann Wolfgang von Goethe wrote more than 200 years ago, boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Visit stephenchristiansen.ca for more episodes. This podcast is available on premium streaming platforms including Anchor, Spotify, TuneIn, and Google Podcasts. I'm Stephen Christiansen. Thanks for listening.